Welcome to Procurement Says No, episode 22. 22, Ed? Wow! You always say that.
That was a bit high, wasn't it? Wow!
Yes, welcome again to all our listeners from around the world to another exciting episode of the world's best procurement podcast. And today we have a special edition, Eduardo, because last week we spoke to Alex Jennings, the top bloke from the Alchemie Network. He hosted us on their website and we did a live stream. So here it is in its slightly edited form.
Live video. You can see the two of us.
On the Alchemie Network. But here you can just listen to us, which is much better because you don't have to see us.
I quite like looking at you.
So it's still there. It's still live. We are still live if you go onto the Alchemie Network, whereas here it's recorded.
Super. Thanks for explaining that, Rich.
And we talk about all of our predictions for 2025. We review our predictions for 2024. We talk about the procurement sophistication nexus, which is coming soon to Procurement Says No.
Dum, dum, dum. We like the Alchemie Network, and we've mentioned them before, haven't we? They're the upstart procurement platform globally. And they are growing like Billio in terms of membership from around the world, literally around the world. So on our broadcast on Friday night, we had people from Botswana, Poland, UK, USA, quite a mix of people on the platform. It appears to be growing really, really rapidly. It's really rich with content, lots of conversations between people on the platform around, across a range of procurement topics where they've got questions, but also lots of category insight. Looks a really good idea. So have a look at alchemienetwork.com, everybody. And Alchemy is without a Y, it's IE. Take a look.
Yes, take a look and take a listen. And now take a listen to us when we appeared with Procurement Says No and the Alchemie Network. The sound quality isn't brilliant either, by the way.
Isn't it?
No, it's not brilliant.
So are polls for that.
Cool.
Rolling.
So, gentlemen, thank you for joining us. So, how long have you been doing this? Was podcast? Is this a vlogcast now?
We have been doing it 18 months, something like that now. We started in May 2023. Hell, yes, 23. A long while back.
Why?
Why? Well, Ed and I are very, very, very old, even older than you, Alex, and we've known each other a very, very long time. And in that last, 30 years, it's 30 years since we first met, I think. And During that 30 years, we spoke a lot, and then we spoke very little, and then we did a little bit of work with each other. We spent 3 or 4 years together when we were at PwC. And it was actually COVID, where we started having more regular chats. And we used to just basically have an hour's chat once a week, and we'd set the worlds to right. And we had a good giggle. We just thought, why don't we create a podcast and waffle on about procurement and waffle on about things? So we thought we would do it. And I remember putting a post onto Linked Up, just saying, does anybody know of any relatively funny podcasts about procurement? And then it was a bit of a blank. So we thought, sod it, we'll go and do our own. I mean, it's just, we love procurement because it's so stupid, isn't it? Procurement is so stupid. People get so het up about procurement. I mean, there's this whole stuff about, is it procurement? Is it purchasing? Is it buying? Who cares?
Exactly.
We just love it. And we love how ridiculous it is. And we love how people just go on about it. It's just buying stuff.
Yeah.
Just can I get a word in edgeways for a moment?
No, sorry, Ed. Yeah.
So basically the truth is I don't like him much, but he pays me £500 an episode to be his friend. So I thought,
there you go.
Let's do this.
Go. That works.
I'm hugely in debt.
Yeah, my first question was going to be, did procurement find you or did you find procurement? I think everybody starts with something like that.
Yeah, I fell into procurement, but I did a degree with procurement in it back in the day, a very long time ago.
So who is listening to your podcast? Because it's getting rave reviews from several people.
Aunties, uncles, cousins, they love it.
Well, Ed usually does a little bit of a data trawl at the beginning of each episode. So we're listening all around the world. I mean, the UK is our main base, but we've got quite a lot of listeners in the US. And then there's just a scattering of people all across the world. It's mainly English speaking, isn't it, Ed? But then it's bizarre. There's some bizarre places as well.
So you think of as Rich said, the English-speaking countries, yeah, we've got a good listener base, led from the UK. US is second, but we're really surprised. We're getting listeners in Yemen, Pakistan, Russia. I didn't think that was allowed to happen anymore, but anyway, all over the world. Basically, we've got about 50 or 60 countries. We've charted in, I can't remember, was it Nicaragua or Venezuela?
Nicaragua. We were number one. We were number one in the business management podcast charts in Nicaragua. We were number one.
It must have been an accident. All I can think is somebody they speak Spanish, I think, and they must have looked it up and thought, oh, that sounds exciting, with their pidgin English, I guess, and then listened to it and then just somehow couldn't turn it off. But yeah, we went to number one in the Apple charts, but hey.
One is enough to get to number one in Nicaragua.
Well, that's what we thought. We thought maybe there are only 2 people listening to in Nicaragua, but that is enough to get us to number one. But
yeah, we beat the Harvard Business Review, A.T. Kearney. There were a variety of English spoken podcasts out there. It was probably 3 a.m. or something. We got a few downloads and then it worked from there. But the reality is the podcast is listened to in lots of territories around the world, which is a surprise.
And we said when we first started, our aim was to get 60 listeners, but we're in the thousands and thousands now. So it's amazing, really.
That is incredible, and I love it. And it's one of the ones. It's one of the only ones that there's 2 actually that my wife's willing to let me listen to in the car, and yours is one of them. So that's quite kudos actually that she's not a procurement person. She knows a bit about it after 40 years. She's actually on now listening.
No, I was going to say, is it Sharon? Hello, Sharon.
So, when you make these episodes, how do you come up with your ideas for them?
Generally, Ed is drunk and he will just have a stream of consciousness, and I write it all down. That's basically how it works. And I go, yeah, that's a good idea, Ed. That's a crap idea, Ed. That's a good idea, Ed. That's a crap idea, Ed. Yeah. And then we stitch it all together. We generally have a vague sense of what we want to talk about. And it's interesting, actually, because we get lots of listener questions from people all around the world. And we use that to sort of direct where we're going. And, when those questions come in, we bizarrely sort of come up with news which actually fits the theme as well. But I don't know if we're repeating ourselves at all now, but I don't think we have yet, which is quite surprising because there are some, dare I say, linked up gurus who do repeat themselves a lot. But we haven't repeated ourselves too much yet.
I think there's something topical, isn't there? I think on a serious note, Rich. There's like the Procurement Act is just about to come in or whatever. So we think in the UK, this is just, so we might talk about that. Or there might be something being written particularly about AI or, bots or whatever. And that it's a sort of stream of consciousness, as Rich says, just something pops into our minds, I think. And then sometimes from one episode, we think we lead to the next episode in terms of topic.
Yeah.
And we've not run out yet.
We've not run out, no. When we first started it, we did a couple of brainstorming type sessions where we were trying to come up with a name and what our topics might be, and we still haven't exhausted that list. But there was a time, if you listen to the first 2 or 3 episodes, we used to talk about, and we're going to do an episode all about recruitment, and we didn't get round to that until about episode 19. So we did do an episode about recruitment eventually. But we got a list of stuff. And again, if people want us to talk about different things, we're happy to go and do that. We can talk about anything, can't we?
Yeah.
The episode about recruitment was a good one. I enjoyed that. How do you make them? Because you don't live together, do you?
Oh, well, that's our little secret, actually. When it was Ed's birthday in the summer, we both went. I went down to Ed's place in near sort of in Staffordshire, and we ended up swimming in the lake together, which was fun. But no, we don't live together. We live a long, long way apart. We have lived a long, long way apart. So we do it all remotely. We use a thing called Zencaster, which is it's a bit like Zoom basically, and you can record on it. And it's quite clever because you can create a video stream, you can create an audio file, and it will give me a rich audio file and an Ed audio file, so we can edit it together quite sensibly and take all the ums and ahs out. And then the other thing that Ed and I do all the time is we talk over each other, so we can delete that as well. Ed was supposed to come in as I said that and talk over me.
No. What was funny, on one podcast, the person spoke, we won't name them, they spoke too slowly. So Rich speeded them up in the edit by 33%.
There you go.
So we record it on Zencaster, then I edited it on a thing. It's all very technical, this, Alex. But we edit it on a thing called Audacity, and then we publish it on a thing called Spreaker. I'm sure there's a more efficient way of doing it, but we use these 3 bits of software to do it.
So I'm going to ask Ed a question. Did you have any favourite episodes?
I think the first one, because it's rough around the edges, and it's us just having a go. And I've listened back to it, and it's not as bad as I recall it being. And I like the fact that we just start with the basics and just say, is it procurement? Is it purchasing? As Rich said earlier. And then the other one, I think, is number 2, Rich, or number 4, which is the one about AI and the bots, or
the rise of the machines. Yeah,
rise of the machines and Skynet, which is a link to Terminator for those who don't know about the bots taking over. So I quite enjoyed that. I've not really enjoyed any of them since, Rich.
No, they're awful. I went back and we did a remix of episode 1, because if you've listened to all of them from the beginning, episode 1 had some dodgy sound. I think my sound was all wrong, and it had different theme tune music, because Ed writes the theme tune, sings the theme tune, and plays it on his little piano. And so we changed the theme tune so they all sounded the same. But episode 1, I had to edit a couple of minutes of it out because it was the sound quality was a bit clunky. But it's still a piece of art now. I mean, it's a piece of art. Episode 1.
Yeah. We did talk about re-recording it completely, didn't we? Doing it again, but then in listening back, I think it's quite nice if it's a bit rough. I think it's just us, talking about a topic and just saying it, speaking warts and all. I think.
Yeah, it's kind of if you listen to, I compare us to the Beatles, really. And if you listen to the White Album or Abbey Road, they're much more sophisticated, whereas the earlier recordings are not quite sophisticated, but just as catchy.
So I haven't listened to all of them yet. I'm working my way through them because I only found you on, I think, episode 15 or 16. So I'm going back through them, and when I'm doing something really, really boring like mowing the lawn or washing the car, then I switch you on. And it makes it so much easier.
Makes it slightly bearable, more bearable.
I'm learning a lot from them. And you have a news section every week, but there doesn't really seem to be much of it.
because there isn't much news, Alex.
Oh, the news section. Sorry, no, there isn't much news. I mean, the running joke that we have is the SIP's website news, which never has any news on it. They haven't even announced their new CEO yet on their news, or they hadn't last time I looked.
There's a cynical part of us you'd be surprised to hear, Alex. That I've been in procurement for 38 years,
what?
and and it's hard to believe, isn't it? And there's nothing new, is there? That there's this cycle in the procurement news feeds. Whether it's lots of stuff on AI, which is saying the same old as it's been saying for 20 years, because AI is not that new, and then the same with ESG and various other topics. And if you read the writers on this stuff, right, well, interesting stuff, but it's the same old, so that it's just doing this sort of circle. We, in the prep for a podcast, we talk about, well, what news can we see, what's happening, and we follow some quite interesting feeds from various individuals and corporates, and there's not a lot changing in procurement, is there? There's talk and people saying things like as if they're new, but then I think if you're a bit of an old lag, then you think, well, I heard that 25 years ago. So there's a limit to what's happening in procurement, and there isn't profound change, is there?
And but we did do a collab with a couple of guys called the Two Lukes, who do a thing called Let's Talk Procurement, which is the second best procurement podcast in the world. And they were going, oh, you bunch of old gits, you're just cynical and da da da. We're going, well, yeah, I suppose you're right. So we did a Gen Z versus Gen X, where we basically proved that we were right, Ed, didn't we?
Yeah, well, we won, didn't we? It's very simple.
We definitely
there's winners and losers, and we were the winners, and they were the losers.
But it is fascinating when you see the stuff that says, oh, well, the thing that procurement needs to do is get better at stakeholder management. The thing that procurement needs to do is look at its procurement tech. The thing that procurement needs to do is invest in supplier relationship management. And you just go, oh, God.
Yeah. All of those are listed by stakeholders, though, and IT sales companies. So going back to this, so I listened to your show earlier today to remind myself from last Christmas when you were making some predictions. And before we get on to those, the funniest bit that we need to, because Ed got sent a card for Christmas from one of his suppliers called Vinci, and it was a poem about on last Christmas. And if you haven't listened to that, you should go back and listen to it, because it's bizarre. It starts off with last Christmas we closed a big deal, but the very next day we bribed it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'm going to be more compliant. It's like
it was just
brilliant.
terrible.
It's actual genius.
It was. Yeah, Ed reckoned it was written by the CEO, didn't you, Ed?
Yes. I might have looked him up, and he was a bit musical or something, I think, or a poet.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you want to find out more about that, listeners, it's episode 9. Procurement Says No, episode 9. That's
Absolutely.
Procurement Says No, episode 9.
Well worth a listen. Stop plugging. So, one of the you must be inspired by some people on as well as going onto the SIP's website often to get inspiration. There must be some people on LinkedIn that really, you wake up every morning and say, "Oh, what have they put today?" and you get excited about it.
No, there are 3 or 4, aren't there? I can't remember the names of them now. They've just
well, we
gone
follow.
out of my head.
Yeah,
but...
well, we follow Peter Smith. So Peter Smith, I've known for 20 odd years. He writes a sort of stream of consciousness now. He is the only procurement leader that I've met who's worked at the top in the public and the private sector and went to Cambridge.
Yeah.
How often do you meet somebody in procurement who went to one of the top universities in the world? He used to work for Spend Matters, and he wrote a lot of stuff about tech and what was evolving in procurement. And now he writes for himself, and he writes a sort of mixed pamphlet, if you like, every week that covers everything from ESG to the latest bands he's seen. But he's a smart cookie. We've had him on the show. Yeah, he's a very smart cookie. He's a good guy, and so we follow him. And then there's a few other people, 1 or 2 of whom we've baited on LinkedIn a little. But yeah, I think probably Peter Smith, Spend Matters, we follow. Art of Procurement, we follow. Speak to them occasionally.
Yeah, me too.
Philip Eidson. So it's people like that we follow, and then there's general other stuff. I like this is a bit of a running joke between me and Rich, but I follow CAPS Research. So that's the Centre for Advanced Procurement Studies in the US, and they issue a thing almost weekly of some sort of stat about procurement, which I gobble up, and then Rich takes the mickey out of me. I've even got one today.
Just one thing on Peter Smith, though. I mean, Peter Smith's blogs and things are becoming more and more surreal, aren't they? Yes.
No! You can't say this.
I think he stopped. I think he stopped taking the meds, and I think it's having an effect.
I'm a subscriber. I enjoy them. I think he's a good egg.
No, he's great,
and
he's great. And another plug. Listen to him on episodes 10 and 11.
Oh dear. We're going to come to the plugs at the end. I mean, you've got merchandise that we're going to be be talking about, which is exciting. Let's go to your predictions that you made then about 2024. How accurate were they? What were they? And how accurate were they? Did you get them spot on?
Yeah, we got them absolutely spot on, didn't we, Rich? So we said that ESG will fall back in the private sector. Were we right or were we wrong?
The stats say that 41% of CEOs are pedaling back from some of the commitments that they had made during last year. So it's absolutely true. And the mood is changing. And on Monday, there's a denier who's getting in now. So it's going to be harder, I think.
Yes. Yes. And I think the legislative regime at a governmental level across the world is relaxing because of the economic consequences. And we come to that in terms of a future thought. But yeah, we said that, the Cheetah Research Institute, a fine institute that's allied to Procurement Says No, forecast that it would fall back in the private sector. And
I think
one out of one.
Won't it? Because, I mean, the focus now will be, presumably the focus in the public sector is going to be taken up by the new austerity, which is going to be announced very soon, and cuts in the UK government on the back of the sort of where the economy is going. But I think there'll be a lot of focus as well this year on the new Procurement Act. So, I mean, the Procurement Act comes in the next few weeks, and I think the public sector is going to be really focused on how do they make sure that is implemented correctly. And I know social value will form a part of that, but I think it might be overtaken by events a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. The changes in the US and the leadership will make profound differences, I think.
Yeah.
So
I think you're right. How you described the fallback from the commitments that had been made, certainly in the UK and parts of Europe. I think the Middle East and Asia is going great guns. They are just ploughing ahead with some really fantastic stuff and leading the way, actually, or catching up. I think he's a strange guy, but I do think that the Biden Act, I can't remember what they called it now, but that has made a difference when it comes to investment in ESG in North America, and we'll see what happens on Monday.
Yeah.
What other predictions did you make?
So the next one was for Rich, was T-shaped procurement people are the future. So Rich, what do you reckon? So we will become commercial tea people, you said. I've got no idea what you were talking about when you talked.
I think there's going to be a lot of procurement departments are going to be faced with cuts to their budgets. And I think that's going to force people to become more generalists. And so the idea of a T-shape was you're a generalist, but you might have a deep skill in one area. So you might have a deep skill in a particular category, or you might have a deep skill in SRM or something like that. But I think that's what's going to happen.
And it's interesting, just from our cynical mindset, Alex, is that you see lots of people talking about all the great things they're going to do in procurement, but they're not cost reduction focused or more efficient for the focus in procurement, i.e. fewer people, better application technology, etc. And they're not always risk focused. But every survey every year, and it's the same this year, the more recent surveys have said, what are the priorities for supply chain leaders or procurement leaders? So I'll quote CAPS, my favorite, Rich. They said priorities for the next 12 months. Number 1, achieving cost savings. Number 2, digitizing S2P, P2P. And then that's followed by basically reducing the cost of the procurement function and managing risk better. It's ever thus.
It's all new, isn't it? That's all new.
And if you look at Deloitte surveys going back 10, 15 years, they do an annual, or used to do an annual procurement survey. It always said the same things. Save money on what you buy, make the procurement function more efficient, i.e. have less overhead, less cost internally for procurement. And then the third one was risk management. And the risk management and the people cost bit move around a little year on year. Maybe risk will go up the agenda because of tariffs in the US, global uncertainty, all that stuff, things that are going on in the world, but it's ever thus.
I asked a well-known chatbot some predictions as well, but asked them to be, I said, do it in the as if you were procurement. Says no. I said, be humorous. And some of the things they came back with, certainly with regards to ESG, they said, get ready to memorize more acronyms. So that was one of their predictions.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good.
Like that, nice.
Like that. That's good.
They said, with regards to digital transformation, you need to befriend IT. So with regards to supplier risk management that you talked about, you need to treat suppliers like houseplants. Give them some attention, keep them watered, and make sure they don't die on you.
Fair enough.
So that's good ideas. Good ideas.
That all makes
with
sense.
To supplier collaboration.
It's awful, isn't it? It's awful when stakeholders die on you, though, isn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's a whole list of them here, but some of them I can't repeat. So what's your personal top tip for 2025? I mean, you've asked your friends at Cheetah, but what do you see happening and what do you see personally happening?
So I'll pick that up first. Tariffs. So the big one that procurement folk need to be thinking about, and it's not just in the context of the US, is that when President Trump comes to power, he's indicated that he's going to put big tariffs on imports of goods and services from various nations across the world. China, Canada, Mexico. Yeah. So what are you doing in procurement for your organization in readiness for this? So it's already happened in the US. So the freight costs for sea freight have doubled recently. They've gone from about $2,500 a container. It's gone to about $5,000, and capacity is really constrained, hence the price rise. So that's the biggie. What's going to happen in your business with regard to your global supply chains, and what's that going to do to cost?
And do you know what you need to do, Ed? You need to establish a cross-functional tariff management team. That's what you need to do with your stakeholder group and finance.
I'm just coming. That was Cheetah Research Institute have come up with that. Why are you stealing their thunder?
I'm starting on Monday.
So I think tariffs. And then what is the consequence of that? There is some thinking that a recession is on the way. Broadly speaking, not necessarily next year, but people like Morgan Stanley are saying there's a sort of 50-50 chance of a recession in 2025, which won't be helped by tariffs. If you think about a tariff structure, what does it do? You put tariffs on in the US, and then you have a war, and we all put tariffs on. Then domestic inflation goes up because things cost more, albeit tax revenue goes up, but domestic inflation increases. What happens when domestic inflation goes up? The central bank in that country puts interest rates up, so the cost of capital goes up to try and reduce inflation. When you put interest rates up, your currency valuation goes up. So this will happen, no doubt, in the US, I would expect. It's conventional monetarist economic thinking. The US currency will become stronger if it puts interest rates up, which means cheaper imports, dearer exports. End result, everybody's poorer.
So you heard it here first, folks, in the Alchemie Network. First of all, set up your cross-functional tariff management team. And then, at the risk of creating complete chaos in the market, you need to do some strategic stockpiling and forward purchasing now. Buy everything you can now.
Yeah.
Buy. Get it into warehouses now. Buy a warehouse. Buy another warehouse and fill it quickly.
So I think some of some of this pre-ordering or pre-forwarding or pre-sending is trying to get ahead of the tariffs. I think that's why we're seeing the shipping costs going up right now. It's going to be interesting to see whether he goes blanket 10% on everything, 50% on a section. Is it 60% on a product? And then it's where does that product sit in your supply chain? So from a procurement perspective, it's going to get really technical because you might think there's no tariffs on me, but your supplier's supplier is hit with a big tariff because one of those things is in there.
I think, Alex, there's loads of devices. There's one is going to your national government agency responsible for setting tariffs and petition against a tariff for a particular thing because it cannot be made in your country. And the other is thinking about free trade zones and all that sort of stuff. But to Richard's humorous point about setting up a team, it's really getting all the characters, all the stakeholders involved to think about how you mitigate and how you get around, because you can get around the tariffs sometimes. I mean, what could happen in the US is some companies might go offshore to manufacture because they're hit by tariffs for stuff that they sell in other parts of the world. So they may well build plants. So there's a whole sort of resonance through the supply chain that's going to potentially happen, assuming it happens. And I think as a procurement person, you need to be ready for the question. What are you doing about it? What are your thoughts about how that might impact your business? And what might you do? What might be your mitigating action, I think? And obviously, not all businesses are necessarily directly affected, but a lot will be.
The other thing you can do is, of course, just reclassifying certain commodities to avoid tariff exposure, and just say, that is not a complicated electronic device built in China. That's wheat.
I'm not sure that's allowed, but
is that not allowed? Okay.
We're already seeing some offshoring going on with China moving products to other parts of Asia. But my point to what Ed said really is that if you're not already working on this, you probably already missed the boat, because if you want to avoid certain tariffs by changing the manufacturing location or supplier, if you haven't already done it, then someone's probably else has already done it, and the amount of capacity to be shifted will be limited. So first mover advantage in moving this is going to be key. And as well as tariffs, there'll be counter tariffs, and we've got COP30 this year in Brazil. None of them are going to be talking to each other by then, so you may as well cancel it.
That'll save on the CO2 emissions, won't it, as well?
Absolutely. Yeah. The other thing that I've been investigating, because I knew this question would come up about what's going to happen in 2025. So I've been investigating Nostradamus, the French astrologer and soothsayer from the 16th century, and his predictions for 2025, which he made in 1555, are actually very, very good. I don't know if you've looked at this at a class, but there's some people who've interpreted this stuff. They're probably crazy people, and they've made up some great predictions, kind of like a horoscope.
Can I just jump in for a minute, Rich? Rich also likes tarot cards and crystal balls. So for his procurement strategy, what he would do is he'd set out a load of tarot cards to determine what was going to happen, and then what his strategy would be with the supply base. So carry on, Rich.
And I would just turn it over: death,
pestilence, and plague.
Well, pestilence, it's like horoscopes. It's like the dawning of the age of Aquarius. So this is what Nostradamus predicted, Alex, for this year. UK and Europe wars and the return of plague, emergence of new global powers, various medical breakthroughs. It's all very vague, isn't it? Also, the end of war. Oh, so hang on, we've got war and the end of war, so hedging his bets a bit there. And then the kicker, the real kicker for me is this. A new mysterious leader will come from the sea and form an aquatic empire. And we've also got a massive asteroid is going to come close to hitting the Earth. And he actually says this, from the cosmos, a fireball will rise, a harbinger of fate. The world pleads, science and fate in a cosmic dance, the fate of the Earth, a second chance.
Wow.
Wow.
That wasn't
boom,
that wasn't Amazon's Blue or the starship that crashed down yesterday, no?
Oh, actually, we were actually talking about this because one of our predictions from last year was Amazon are going to take over the world, which I think is well on its way. I think, funnily enough, Ed's got some stats about that. But we were just talking about this the other day, and unless Jeff Bezos dies in a bizarre rocket accident whilst flying to Mars, we think that Amazon will continue its rise.
You need to listen to Rich on the Nostradamus piece, listeners, because we foretold last year that Amazon would take over the world. And listen to this: their net sales in the third quarter of last year, 24, went up 11% to $159 billion. 11% growth in a fairly static market, in all honesty, lack of growth. And their profits went up from 11 billion to 17 billion in the quarter. We're with Amazon, aren't we? I think buy stocks and shares in Amazon, they're going to go and go.
Do you think Jeff Bezos did come from the sea? Was he a mysterious leader who came from the sea?
Well,
he looks like he did.
You can't say that.
I think you saw him last night on TV. No, he's looking quite buff now. Actually, he's got a personal trainer. Clearly, he's looking.
It's all the swimming. He's swimming. He's got a six pack and everything.
I have to say, Amazon are top as far as I'm concerned. They are top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's just buy everything via Amazon Business. That's the future.
The other bit is, I think we talked last year about AI being overhyped in the procurement context. We hold fast on that. It is overhyped. And I had a little spat with somebody on LinkedIn who remained nameless, where they'd quoted that 80% of all procurement jobs would disappear in 5 years. They'd actually made a mistake. They meant to say 2035, but they said 2030 in their email, in their note on LinkedIn. And got a bit upset when I used this as an anecdote, which I didn't apologize for, of course. It was basically the procurement view is AI is just going to take over. In 10 years, all jobs in procurement will be gone because everything will be AI'd and bots will be there and Skynet will be in place and we'll be in the world of the Terminator. Just not the case. I think the only thing we'd say for the coming year, and I know you shared a paper on this about the ranking for investment in AI, but I think what is going to change with AI is more things will be written. So your email responses, your tenders might be helped by a ChatGPT type solution or a Google solution or whatever. So I think that will become mainstream. But in terms of wholesale change in procurement because of AI, not going to happen.
Two important points that I'd like to raise about AI. This is an analogy Ed and I discussed the other day. AI, if you're a driver, AI is like an automatic gearbox. This is what I think, in a car rather than a manual one. So originally we got clunky torque converter automatics. Then we got CVT, continuous variable transmission. Then we got dual clutch, from Audi and Volkswagen Group. Now we've got auto gear shift and computerized gear shift. And then you've got electric engines, which don't need a gearbox in the same way. So the technology has got better over time. I'm not having to use your manual gearbox. The car is doing it for you. But if you then talk to people who are actually interested in driving, they always prefer a manual gearbox. So the manual gearbox is about more interaction. You're doing more yourself. That's more fun. It feels like you're driving the car. So I'm thinking the same thing about AI. Yes, it will help you to do the job more quickly and more efficiently, but will it be as much fun? That's my analogy. Boom. And another thing, my second point, because I haven't forgotten it, is AI. And I may have been confused about this, Ed, but AI for me is all about population growth, uncontained population growth through AI. But then I worked out, I was looking up the definition of artificial insemination.
Oh dear.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to mix those two things up.
No, you wouldn't, would you? What's he
No.
doing in the photocopier room?
Oh dear me. I think one of the things that there was a report that Carney did last year, interviews with CEOs and CPOs, and there's a fear still around AI in companies. So their report said that 60% of organizations are building their own AI internally, 36% are building them with the support of a technology company, and only 4% are buying off the shelf because they're scared of any of their information or their data getting out there pulled into a ChatGPT or a Grok or something like that.
I mean, we talked about this in our episode all about AI, which was called Artificially Intelligent. And I'll do another plug. It's episode 13, where we talked to a guy called Ashley Williams, I think it was, from Mishcon de Raya. And this is one of the things that we talked about that whole thing about IP and the fear of data going into the cloud and being used through artificial insemination.
Yeah, it is something we should all be worried about. Absolutely, take precautions.
I think you shared some documentation with us, Alex, which supports the view that Rich and I share, which is the priority for applications for AI are not going to start in procurement. They're going to start in your design activity, your customer relationship management activity, maybe even in finance, procurement. And there's a document you shared. It's called Me, Myself and AI, How the World of Work Could Be Changing. And it said basically the effect of technological advances on productivity. And bottom of the list was procurement. And I think the reality in procurement is it's sort of an overlooked function because there's other things that are seen as more important to the business, customer retention, for example, or product design, as we talked about a moment ago. So I think we've got a slightly cynical view, not because we don't understand AI and see the application of it, because it all makes sense. It's a matter of where the company's going to put its money.
Yeah. I was just going to say, I think whilst there's going to be a lack of investment in procurement in AI, we'll still get the same target for reduction as everybody else.
Yeah.
So we won't just go
it's the same old, because we talk often about procurement technology, and a lot of procurement departments still don't even have any kind of decent technology, and it hasn't moved really beyond the basic P2P stuff, and just making sure they get payments and able to make payments on time. So there's a big gap in the investment in procurement.
One of the things that I struggle to get my head around, though, is that when I started, we had a green flashing mainframe and SuperCalc 123, and there are now thousands. There are now thousands and thousands of AI startups promising us the earth, and I don't know where to start. And I think many of them are going to die.
And that was the same last time around. So I was involved in running a e-sourcing company back in 2000, and that was exactly the same. You've got this big hype cycle for e-commerce solutions, and a lot of them fell by the wayside. Things do move on as a result, but a lot of them are lost. And I think the example for me is in the intake to pay marketplace, which is also loosely called orchestration. There's lots of new players in this space where they're trying to sort of make the user experience really easy for stakeholders just to buy stuff that they need by creating some sort of software that sits on top of all the enterprise systems and all the different systems that are used by the company. So people like Zip and Tonkian and so forth are in this space. Looks really sexy, but most organizations' enterprise system is not very good. You see different companies, some really big blue chip companies, and their systems don't work very well. And I think that will resonate for most of the people listening, is that the technology that they've got doesn't work very well, and they're trying to integrate something really sophisticated into it with all of its sort of fingers or tendrils that link into all the different systems is almost impossible. Zip have got huge valuation. Everybody talks about procurement orchestration, but who can apply it?
You then try to apply it to your SAP system that you implemented in 2013, and you discover that it doesn't work.
Or SAP don't let you.
No, definitely. Some of your other predictions. What do you think about our institutes? So the likes of ISM in North America and SIPS in Europe, they'll be going through a bit of a resurgence, I think, and they've had 5 or 6 CEOs. 3 of them I know very well, actually. The only way is up, really.
I think this is where Alchemie Network fits in. I think if you look at SIPS and others, a lot of their sort of people that are associated with them who pay their fees and so forth, their members, they're all going through training. They don't tend to stay with the organization once they've passed their training. So SIPs and others are good for personal development, but then I think the membership slips. And that's the gap for ISM, for SIPs and for others. I mean, SIPs are huge. They're all over the world. You know what I mean? Other than the US, really, they seem to appear to be the leader. They've got a good new leader and all the rest of it in the business, but they're not converting learners to practitioners and keeping hold of them. I'm not sure. I think with the new SIPs CEO, I think. Ben, I think hopefully he will make a difference and he'll see that. But I think there's a big gap. I mean, what have SIPs got? Like 40,000 members? A good majority of them are students.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ed. That it's very, very good for that whole training thing and develop that initial development and that early on in the career base and the exam process and all that stuff. Because none of that existed, did it, 30 odd years ago? And I think, you know, when you and I were originally members of SIPs, Ed, when we were back in PwC, it was about the network, although, you know, it was pre-social media and pre-linked up and all that kind of stuff. I think they do need to return to that, and I'm sure that's probably where they're focusing to move the membership on from, yes, you've passed your exams now, this is the next stage in your development and how you can drive your career. Ben, if you're listening, come on the podcast.
I'm sure he will. He's a good guy. I had supper with him, and I think the actual numbers, that I think they've got over 60,000 members. But you're right, a lot of them are students. But I think Ben recognizes that he wants to become more inclusive. He wants to become more connected, and he wants to answer the question of, you know, Luke Skywalker asked, I can't remember her first name.
Skywalker.
Right.
We never even made that connection.
Skywalker, that what happens afterwards, and how do you generate value? And I think it's there. Like, I've run a branch for 3-4 years. I was an elected member of Congress. I believe in it, but I think leadership is where we're at. So look, I want to say thank you for all of that. What's coming up for you guys? So I think, you know, what are some of the episodes you've got coming up? Little Bird has told me that you're going to do a similar thing, but in North America as well. Trump's invited you over on Monday to be part of his inauguration.
In Vegas, baby. Vegas. We've got no idea how this happened. We both sort of stared at each other over video call and asked the question, how the hell has this happened? But ProcureCon, who are probably one of the two biggest procurement conference runners in the world, and they run conferences all over the place, they've invited us to bring Procurement Says No to ProcureCon West, which, as luck would have it, is in Las Vegas. So how could we say no? They've asked us if we would be one of a couple of podcast partners. So we'll get, you know, a bit of promotion for our podcast, and then we will record podcasts while we're out there with different delegates, we think. So we've picked a number of procurement leaders from across US industry who we're going to have a chat with, but probably do a little 10-15 minute vignette type thing. But we did have to pinch ourselves a little bit. We think we might get on a panel or two. We're not sure yet. They're just firming up the agenda, but we're quite excited about that, aren't we, Rich?
Yes. Ed's going. I'm staying at home. I'm not going. Ed's got a serious gambling habit, so I don't want to be seen in Vegas with him.
There is a serious side to you guys as well, which you know, if you're going to be funny, then if you look at comedians, they are normally some of the most intelligent people in the world.
Oh yeah.
And I think the fact that you guys are funny demonstrates the level of acumen that you have, and how skilled you are at turning what could be classed by some people as a boring subject and making it listenable.
Can you send your sort code again over, Alex? Because I didn't get it the first time, so I'll make sure that payment is made.
Look, one of the things that we love about you guys is you make it real, and we have actually uploaded all 21 of your episodes onto the Alchemie Network, and every time somebody listens to it, it goes as one of your listeners as well. So, you know, we're not stealing from your stats, and I encourage everybody to go back through their back catalogue, because it's a friend. It's a procurement friend, and there is actually some good stuff in there from a material perspective as well as being humorous. But one of the things that excites me, and I've got some Alchemie merch on here, but you guys are looking at actually having some merchandise that people can buy.
Yes.
Can you just show us some of the merchandise that's coming very shortly to a WH Smith's near you?
We should do a Gervais voice now, shouldn't we? But I can't do that. But so we're going to do a range of T-shirts, listener.
Look at that.
So that's a Procurement Says No Without Prejudice, pink on grey. And then Procurement Says No, Make Procurement Great Again, which we might not take to Vegas because that could be a little bit dangerous. Probably starting with immigration in Las Vegas. And then
You'd be all right in Kentucky.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Vegas is Democratic, I think, not Republican. Yeah, Nevada. Procurement Says No, subject to contract. And then humorously, but we don't think we dare do this in the US, that's for sure, is have a cap with Procurement Says No.
Yeah.
So,
I love that. I will definitely be buying all of my family those T-shirts for their presents.
It's the sort of Easter present everybody wants to have.
It is.
And what are you thinking of knocking them out at? I mean, what quality are we talking about? Is it Louis Vuitton or is it Primark?
It's Shein.
Shein. Made in a sweatshop in somewhere.
Stop it.
It'll be very high quality.
Yeah.
Okay, so the TCO on these will be really high.
They'll last forever.
Yes.
They'll last forever.
As long as Rich lives, they will survive.
Excellent.
We haven't agreed a price. We think in the US we can probably get away with $40, $50 because everything will be rosy after next Monday.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very dangerous when Ed tries to take them into the US. They'll probably be subject to massive tariffs.
You need to send the container ahead of it.
Yeah,
and when is this show? Are they still selling tickets? I mean, can we come over to watch you guys?
March
in Vegas.
Yes. 3 days.
I'll be there. I'll be dialing in.
Yeah. I'm going solo because I'm dropping Rich.
Really?
Hey, I've copyrighted everything. I own all of it now. You're out.
There you go.
There you go. You heard it here.
Oh well, it was fun while it lasted.
One last thing, and you asked me to ask you about PCN, so Procurement Maturity Matrix, and I'm not sure you're the right people to be asking about maturity, but what is this all about?
Oh, this is a new model for the future of procurement, Alex. I think everybody's paying attention to this because it's kind of like a Boston Consulting type scenario thingy-bob. So we're actually going to call it the Procurement Sophistication Nexus. And it's basically a 2x2 with 4 quadrants. I think we've got spend on the y-axis, and we've got degree of cleverness on the x-axis. And basically, you can plot yourself as to the maturity of your procurement organization, whether you are Skynet, i.e. you are very, very clever and you spend a lot of money, whether you're a Victorian workhouse where you spend a lot of money but you're not very sophisticated, whether you're the boss buyer or whether you're virtually non-existent. So yeah, we're working on that. It's obviously subject to a lot of intellectual discussion.
You remember Crouchick?
Yeah,
this will replace
like that. What you need to do is to make some PDFs and post them on Linked Up.
You think something that's not very good?
That's good. That'll do it.
Better than I've seen recently, but
if you did that while singing against an open fire, that would work.
No.
Oh dear me! Stop it. Right. I don't have any more questions for you guys, apart from we've really loved having you on. I think you do something wonderful for procurement. I'm thinking about how do you? I think old people find you funny, but how do we get younger people interested in procurement through what you guys do? Because you kind of bring it, you tell it how it is. Because there's a lot of sugar coating goes on with procurement. That you're going to be able to do this, and you're going to be a gold card for life by the time you're 35. I was, but what does it? How do you connect with those guys?
Emojis.
Yeah, definitely emojis, and also the SIPS award for the best haircut as well. I think the youth have better haircuts than us because we're all losing our hair. Yeah. So I think that's the way to go. But also listen to the two Lukes, the Let's Talk Procurement guys. They're much younger than us. They're half our age. Yeah. Listen to them, and they'll get you into procurement. And then once you understand procurement, you can listen to us.
If you listen to the two Lukes, there's a little bit of a theme going on. one of the things they ask their guests is if you were an animal, which animal would you be? I think we need to do the same sort of thing, Rich.
And what's theirs called? It's not. Is it called the Two Lukes?
It's called Let's Talk Procurement. Look at this one, plugging the Two Lukes. Bloody hell.
Let's talk procurement. Love it. Right, we're going to find that and we're going to speak to them. Listen, thank you, sir. And actually, talking about SIPs, I'm going to speak to Ben because I'm speaking to him next week. But they should have an award for the best procurement podcast.
Even better than that would be to get us on to host the next SIPs Awards.
Yeah, and they pay about, what do they pay? At least 10 grand for the content.
We would do it for 5
English pounds. We'd do it for a couple of thousand, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
As long as we can sell some T-shirts. But if they do that and you vote for us, we'll send you a Procurement Says No cap.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what they did in Kenya, wasn't it? I think the Kenyan presidents gave everybody baseball caps to win votes, so we could do the same.
Yeah. Perfect.
Well, it's a black tie event, so you'd have to have some Procurement Says No bow ties made or something like that. That would work.
I like that. Oh, I like the cut of your jib.
Listen, thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate you coming on a Friday evening. Thank you for everyone that's been listening. We've had a question coming in. Sorry, we can't go. So we've got a question from Seema. How can we set up procurement new perspective in an organization where they follow ages-old policy and outdated technology, not connected systems, scattered data, and so on? That sounds like where I work.
I think you should move jobs. Yeah, I think it's a long answer. But I would say it's about business case, isn't it? It's about cost benefit. So if you want to put a procurement team in place in your business, starting point really is to describe what the outcome will deliver to the organization. You've got to think about what the leader of your business or the executive committee or whatever the team are that run your business, what do they want? They want cost savings. So you need to start by putting some sort of business case together that says, if we did this, we could deliver X million pounds, dollars, and it would cost us this, and it would be a lot less. And you're going to get a return of 4 to 1, 5 to 1 on that investment, or 10 to 1, hopefully, is the nirvana. You have to identify what the product of having a procurement function will be. Yeah.
I'd just add to that you need to start with the basics as well. So a lot of people put no prevalence and reliance on data. And getting that right. And you can't do anything unless you've got your base right. Sort the processes out, put the structure in place, get your data clean and keep it clean. And then you can start building from that.
But it's a case for change, isn't it, Alex? I think it's, why should we do this? Why should we change the policy? Why should we put new policies in place? You've got to think about what the outcome's going to be.
Yeah.
So,
and just to add to that, the other thing to beware is any water-based leader riding on an asteroid.
With the 6-pack.
Watch out for that. There's another question coming here. So will there be any underwear on the merchandise with Procurement Says No on it?
If Harold really wants a big pair of Y-fronts with Procurement Says No across the reverse,
it's the Procurement Says
No. My wife
thong.
asked that question.
Yeah. Oh, a thong, actually. And we'll buy you a thong. We'll send it to you, but you have to post a picture online of it.
Yeah.
Yes. We'll fin you a thong.
This could go big. Look, this takes me back to the 80s when we had Frankie Says No and the Wham t-shirts. Yeah. I think there's something in this. We're going to get big. Hopefully you're going to be willing to have a space on our network where you can sell them as well. So we don't want to get involved in shipping. We don't want to get involved in shipping.
Yeah, we're going to get the order in from China before the tariffs go up. Look, sounds like a 20-foot container.
Excellent. All right, guys, thank you very much. Ed, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, just one plug. We're on Twitter and Facebook, so we would welcome followers. We don't have many. We'd welcome them, and then if we did get more followers, we'd put more content out on social media.
Thank you very much, and we appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks all.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Oh, there's no funny bit at the end.
You think? They won't like that.